take part in the project because I'd not done anything with BLESMA in the past, and it just seemed like a really good activity to do, and I'd never skydived before.
Okay then, so how did this project all come about then? Well, I served 14 years in the military, various tours of Afghanistan, and I saw a lot of personal friends get injured. But also I had a really big passion of skydiving. I did a lot of competition skydiving as well. Now back in 2011, myself and Alana O'Sullivan came up with this idea that we could try and combine the two together and get this going. And like for Alana, she did a lot of behind the scenes stuff, a lot of writing, all that sort of stuff that you don't want to really do in a project, but she did really well and got the project off the ground. And then eventually we approached BLESMA, and they basically said, yes, we would like to help you out in this project and be kind of like the first charity to be leading the way. And now 3 years later down the line, obviously you can see the results of training up injured service personnel.
People need to understand about this is you can't tell them no. They will do better than any able person would do, because they've overcome so much more than any able person has ever gone through before. And on the first year of doing the project, somebody said, there's nothing you can't do that I can't do. It just takes me a little bit longer to learn how to do it. And I think that's true, and that's what makes their path to their level of achievement even greater, because they really have earned it.
I've had instructors, Dean Smith, And currently at the moment, other two instructors that we got on the project is Kim Myers and Andy Myers, and they've been helping out, and really valuable instructors with this project, and people that have wanted to stick their head above the parapet and go forward with this project, because right at the start there was a lot of naysayers who really didn't want to help us out, and they were quite negative about the project, that was going to injure or hurt people. But that will happen in any sport if you're able-bodied or if you're an amputee. So I know that there's been a lot of individual amputee skydivers that have come across, but no one's ever done it as a collective, as a group, and no one really wanted to put their name against it and go, look, I'm happy to do this, I put my name on it, and if anything goes wrong, I'll take responsibility.
I'm Kim, I'm one of the instructors on the BLESMA Transformers project, and I've been involved from the start with the selection of this year's students. Initially we started off with a trip to Air Kicks Wind Tunnel in Basingstoke, where we took the guys into the airflow to see how they fly. Most able-bodied people have got a symmetrical flying position where it's easy for them to fly in the airflow. The restrictions that the amputees have is that their bodies are no longer symmetrical, and we have to find a flying position that's suitable for them.
Okay, so what BLESMA is trying to achieve while we're out here, obviously we want to teach the guys how to skydive. A lot of these guys were very keen on getting into the sport. It was something they wanted to have a go at and something that they hadn't had the opportunity to do previously before they got injured, never mind afterwards. So what we're trying to do is take people's expectations and people's life goals outside the box a little bit. That's the first thing we're trying to do. Another thing is try to promote a better way of living within people generally. So once they go back outside the sport, people might go back to the UK and they might decide that they want to take up cycling, in which case that's something we now know and that's something we can facilitate and encourage. They might want just general tips on how they can promote their own well-being. That's something that's very big for us at the moment, and that's something that we'll try to inform them about while we're out here as well. So there's lots of little things that we can do for people that will allow them to carry on feeling the benefits of these trips when they return to the UK.
I think it's awesome. The things that we're getting to do now with the skydiving and stuff like that is something that I probably wouldn't have done before I lost my leg. So. Obviously initially, just until I was getting bearings with the ground and stuff like that, I was obviously coming on my bum and kind of sliding it in. When I've started to get a better depth perception and knowing when to flare and stuff like that, I've started to try and stand a few landings.
So obviously we really want guys to continue within the sport of skydiving if they've enjoyed it enough, and we'll do everything that we can to allow them to do that when they return to the UK in whatever sort of discipline they do. But there's lots of other stuff that BLESMA organises as well. We're not just about the adrenaline rides for the younger guys. A whole raft of courses that go from winter sports, scuba diving, other exciting stuff like that, all the way down to some of the things that we organise for the older members. Still, because we've still got quite a few World War II veterans within the association. So we'll organise painting courses and fishing trips. We have a photography course. We've actually got 3 this year, which is proving extremely popular, and it's really growing people's skill set outside of what you might necessarily think they'd be able to achieve. Again, it all follows the same theme of trying to promote independent living, fulfilling lives within the members, and anything that grabs people's interest and encourages them to get out and do stuff is going to be hugely important for that.
What's it feel like in free fall?
It's amazing. It's you can't explain it. You have to experience it yourself to understand it. Really, it's the best answer I can give that.
The wind changes the shape of that leg once you're in free fall. What sort of thing we've got to do to sort of make sure that sort of works properly?
Well, as an above-knee prosthetic user, as you say, the wind does fold it over and we have no control over it, unlike some of the below knees. So we've managed to come up with a couple of ideas. The Mark 1 was to lock it in place with a leg brace at 45 degrees, however that failed due to just too much force going through it. However, we went back to the old school Mark 2 foam block, and that just tapes to the back of the leg, holds it in place, so when the leg flexes into position, it's got a nice block and it stops it coming past to help us maintain stability in the skies.
first time I was in free fall was the best feeling I think I've ever had. We jumped before with the instructors, but the first time I was on my own was pretty incredible.
What this project has meant for me, it's been absolutely brilliant just to see the guys come across and really push themselves, because they have come across a lot of hurdles how to fly individually, because they're not all symmetrical, and with the airflow and all that, you've got to be try and be symmetrical, and just to see like each and individual injuries different to treat, and to how to teach people how to skydive. So for an instructor, it's really pushed me through my boundaries. It's like I've really had to think outside the box and get around certain problems with the guys, and you know what I mean, like weighing down some of the legs to make them fly properly, and like basically putting them in a chock so they act like a normal leg. You know what I mean? But so it's really pushed me as an instructor and pushed the boundaries, and it's opened my knowledge up really well, and hopefully it's made me a better instructor through it.
When you get home, are you going to carry on with your skydiving?
Definitely, yeah, definitely.
And if there was any sort of notion of trying to get into a team, do you think that like longer term you might want to do some of the team stuff?
If I was to get to that level, it's something I'm definitely interested in, yeah.
I thought it was amazing, really. I was like well interested in the project, and I was up for doing it.
Will you be continuing to jump in the UK?
Yeah, definitely.
Wholly intend to continue skydiving. It's just another thing that I've now found out and discovered that I can
do. From the experience here, it's amazing how everyone's been. Everyone just thinks we're all amazing for doing it, and they can't believe we're all jumping because we've lost limbs and stuff. Yeah, overly, megally friendly. Like everyone's just well up for it.
BLESMA Transformers being here, it's been really inspiring, not just for myself, but for everyone on the drop zone. It really shows everybody around here what is possible, and that just because something occurs in your life doesn't mean you can't keep on living life to its fullest. And it's amazing having them here, because they come with such positive energy here at Skydive Elsinore. And that a lot of times we can get stuck in our own little issues in life, but when they come out here with such great attitudes, it's very inspiring.
First landing went really well actually. The rest have been pretty diabolical, but we're just getting better and better over time, so it's all good.
Trying to get the guys in to landing, it takes quite a bit of skill from them, because the guys that can't physically land on their feet, we have to teach them to slide in on their bum, which means that their landing flare has to be a little bit more precise than the average student. So to actually talk them in to getting their flare point to the exact position that allows them to touch down onto the ground with no movement.
What about exiting from the aeroplane?
That's definitely a lot easier than I thought it would be. From the start, when you're jumping out with the instructors, it's a bit awkward on prosthetics, getting side onto the door and holding on, but no, once we were all stable in the air, the dive exits, they're amazing, they're good fun, and you just arch. It's easy to get stable, you've just got to arch.
What's your favourite manoeuvre when you're in free fall?
I think after today, I like the backflip and tracking. I don't have one. Loops and tracking are my favourite at the moment.
At the moment, once you've passed this, what it means to you is you can go to a drop zone, you can jump on your own. But the fun is really there when you're jumping with your friend. So the next progression for the lads is to take part in FS1. This is Formation Skydiving 1, and this allows them to actually jump out of the airplane with other people, but most importantly with their friends, and that's what will keep them in the sport as they continue to enjoy their skydiving careers.
So one of the things that's really important about any of these trips or anything that we do is the social aspect of the trips. It's during everyday life, there's not much chance that limbless veterans are going to get to interact with each other. They're not necessarily going to know people in the local area. There might not be anyone in the local area that they can talk to about their experiences or the problems they're having. So when they come away on a trip like this, suddenly you're not on your own anymore. You're surrounded by 6, 8, maybe even anything up to 20 other people who are in the same boat as you, who've got similar experiences, who understand the way that you think to a certain degree. So that's really good, and you can see, especially for the guys that have been out of the service now, they're starting to get back a little bit of the teamwork, the camaraderie, the esprit de corps that they might not have felt since they left the military, and it makes a big difference because people can open up a little bit and talk about the problems, or they can just swap stories, talk about the issues that they're having with their prosthetics, etc. So it's an information exchange as well as being a support network, and it works really, really well. And yeah, you can see the difference in the guys, but from the end of the week as you can from the start. And this group especially, I think, bonded incredibly well. You know, I think we've got some guys who are already talking about hooking up to play online games when they get back to the UK, and adding each other on Facebook, etc. So it's done its job in that respect.
I think the only thing that's changed for me really is my confidence. You know, throwing yourself out of a plane. I'm still scared of it. I'm 14 jumps in, and it's just getting easier and easier every time we do it. And I've just got more and more confidence.
For me, I'd really like to see at a national level, or almost at a world level, a group of amputee skydivers holding that gold medal up, who've started from the journey of an AFF student all the way through to becoming on a podium place. Now that's where I'd really like the project to be going towards the end of, like, in the next couple of years, and hopefully further down the line I'd like to see like more amputee instructors, so they're kind of coming out here and they're self-teaching themselves, so I can step out of it and just watch them teach themselves, and basically so the project is contained within itself and it's all run by fully like amputees. For me that would be an absolute brilliant, and for me to turn around and, like, kind of like at the end of my skydiving career and just put my stamp on it and said, yeah, I started that. ever be, as they say, afraid to fail or be paralysed by the fear of failure.